Hi, I'm George Woodbury, and in this video we're going to go over the midpoint formula. Now, if you have 2 points, let's call them x1, x1, y1, the first x and the first y, and x2, comma y2, second x, second y coordinates, then the midpoint can be found by just averaging the coordinates. So x1 plus x2 divided by 2 is the average of those x coordinates. That gives you the value right in the middle of those two. And then we repeat the same thing for y. y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So that's how we find the midpoint. And the first problem, listed as problem 5, we're looking to find the midpoint of a segment whose endpoints are 2, -7. Let me rewrite that. And -5, -13. So, as I mentioned before, anytime you're using a new formula, it makes sense to write down the formula first. So let me write that down. x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Label the points. 2 is x1, -7 is y1, -5 is x2, -13 is y2. Also notice that we're not subtracting here. So in the distance formula, we subtracted the coordinates, but in this formula, we actually add them together. So substituting in x1 is 2 plus -5 for x2. That's going to be divided by 2, comma, for y, it's going to be -7 plus -13 divided by 2. 2 plus -5 is the same as 2 minus 5. So this is -3 over 2. And -7 plus -13 is the same as -7 minus 13, or -20 over 2. -3 over 2 is already in lowest terms or simplest terms, but -20 divided by 2, I can do that's equal to -10. So the midpoint is -3/2, comma, -10. Now we'll do a problem that doesn't ask us to find a midpoint, but we're going to use the midpoint formula and knowing one of the midpoints and one of the endpoints to find the other point. It says the line segment from A to B has a midpoint of 2, -9. If the coordinates of A are -7, -6, 7, -6, find the coordinates of B. So what we know is the x-coordinate of the midpoint is x1 plus x2 divided by 2. The y-coordinate of the midpoint, so I put an m under there for midpoint, that's equal to y1 plus y2 over 2. And we know the midpoint is 2, -9, so that is xm, ym. One of the points, the coordinates of A, 7, -6, that's our x1 and y1. And what we're trying to figure out, what are x2 and y2? We can substitute into these two formulas and solve. So for the first one, the x-coordinate of the midpoint was 2. x1 is 7, so 2 equals 7 plus x sub 2 divided by 2. That's a linear equation that we can solve for x sub 2. Begin by multiplying both sides of the equation by 2. And we have 4 equals 7 plus x sub 2. Subtract over the 7, and we know that x sub 2 equals -3. For y sub m, we know that that is -9. And x sub 1 was -6. So we've got -9 equals -6 plus y sub 2 over 2. Multiply both sides of the equation again by 2. And we get -18 equals -6 plus y sub 2. Add 6 to both sides of the equation. And we get -12 equals y sub 2. So the coordinates of B are -3 for x, -12 for y. So that's a quick use of the midpoint formula and then an application using that.